YouTube and Facebook people can also get the greetings. Okay, good evening to everyone that's joining us this evening. Thank you for joining us on this part 2 of attachment styles. Last week we looked at attachment styles. At the end of the session, we were interested in linking them or in finding a relation between attachment styles and love languages. As I've already said, I'm joined by Chilala Moya on the other side. We are waiting for Dr. Sheila, but rather than waiting, she will find us on the way. Last we spoke to her, she was driving home from work. Okay, let me not say from work, I don't know, but from wherever she was coming from. she's in India, but hopefully she will join us soon as we explore this topic. Chilala, am I audible enough on your side?
Thank you, clearly.
I'm clear. All right. Okay, if you can hear me, we can hope that the YouTube and Facebook friends can also hear me. If you're watching from Facebook, please just indicate if you can hear us clearly. All right, let's get this thing started. Maybe to start, Chilala, we can quickly recap on attachment styles. What are they? We are not going to go into detail because we did cover them last week. Just to recap on them, and then we can also remind each other or educate to those who do not know about love languages. But let's start on a recap with attachment styles.
Okay, thank you so much, everyone. We would like to welcome you to our discussion for this evening. So, like Sia has mentioned, we shall briefly just look at the attachment styles. We looked at them last week. There are basically 4 attachment styles that we looked at. Just to run them through quickly. Or maybe let me mention that develop the kind of care, the kind of parenting that we receive in childhood. You know, when we receive some good parenting, there is a huge possibility that we are going to develop safe and secure attachment styles. But when we do not receive good care or parenting, chances are that we are going to receive insecure or
okay. They say they can't hear you on Google Meets. Can you raise your voice a little bit?
They can't hear me. I need to.
Yes. Maybe speak louder.
Okay, thank you. I don't know if they are now able to get me.
Can you guys hear Chilala? Is it sounding better now?
I can go on.
Yeah, I think let's give it a try and see.
Okay, they should indicate if they're not getting me still so that we can know.
Okay.
I was saying that attachment styles basically develop in childhood.
Okay, they're saying you're sounding worse than you were before. So now I'm not sure whether it's my device or it's you. Can you guys hear me properly?
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
You can hear me clearly, but you're struggling to hear Chilala.
Yes.
Okay. Chilala, please try to raise your voice a little bit.
Okay, I don't know what the challenge is. I've got my device.
You're gonna have to sound like you're gonna have to sound like a preacher today.
And I'm really shouting now. I hope they are hearing me. I really hope so. Okay. Styles develop based on the kind of parenting that we receive. When our parents provide a kind of parenting, develop the good and secure attachment styles. On the other hand, when our parents probably, maybe their kind of parenting is not the safe, secure one, then chances are that we are not going to develop a secure attachment styles or develop about. So there are attachment styles. One of them is where this is the most healthy one, by the way. Ones with this kind of attachment style to show love, to show affection, they are able also to trust, they're able to,
Yeah.
okay, they receive also the kind of love which they have a higher self-esteem, they're able to live on their own, even when necessarily there is nobody to love them, so they can give love, they can receive love in a normal way, even if their partner is not around, they are able to to feel comfortable and safe. They're able to communicate properly. Basically, that's how they are. There is the dismissive one, the dismissive attachment style. Usually, they prioritize their own autonomy rather than relationship. They pay much more attention to themselves than to the relationship. Okay, they do not want to have so much self-confidence in themselves and self-esteem. They do not so much want to give a lot of trust to the relationship or to their partner. Yes, that's the kind of attachment style the dismissive type is. There is the anxious one, and they are very afraid of rejection, and abandonment. They have very low self-esteem. Have a characteristic of being so dependent upon their partner. They are usually unwilling to take accountability for their actions. They are very, very unpredictable. Those are some of the characteristics of the anxious attachment style. The attachment styles, it's a little bit complicated, like the way I mentioned, the disorganized one. Usually, it is said that they come from a situation of unresolved trauma, and they may not be in a relationship in a good manner. Things like conflict, they may not be able to handle it properly. Sometimes they want to be close to somebody, but again, they are so reserved in terms of showing their affection, okay, showing that they love somebody. Also, so that somebody is able to. So they are
Hold on, something is happening on my, and I don't know how to kick this person out.
I'm getting some noise too.
And I want to remove them. Okay. Oh, thank you. Seems like we were joined by somebody who's not supposed to be here.
Okay.
I've managed to remove them and block them.
Right.
Thank you. Okay, you can continue.
Thank you. So the disorganized attachment style, they are usually, wanting to have a a comfortable relationship, but again, they cannot open up because they have insecurities and a lot of fears and everything. They're mixed up. Those are basically the attachment styles.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, so for those who just joined us, we were recapping a bit on what we covered last week, which is attachment styles. Darius has joined us. Thank you so much for joining us. Darius, can you please introduce us to love languages? Not much in detail, just just an introduction. Then after that we can find a link, if there is a link between love languages and attachment styles. Welcome, Darius. Darius, please unmute yourself and start speaking. Okay, Darius is not able to unmute himself for now. Can I share what I know about love languages, and then we can
Sure.
take it from there. Okay, according to Gary Chapman, there are 5 love languages. There is and the love languages is how we receive and give love to the ones that we love. Just to summarize them, there's words of affirmation. Okay, for an example, if we were talking about coffee, I would say, as a person who appreciates love and the love language, words of affirmation, I would say, your coffee is delicious. If that's how I give love, or if this is how I prefer to receive love, I would appreciate it if somebody said to me, your coffee is delicious. That's how I will express words of affirmation. Then there's words of affirmation, there's acts of service, there's receiving gifts, there's quality time, and there's physical touch. With acts of service, if I'm a person who expresses my love best when I do something for someone, I would say, I have made you coffee. Or I would appreciate it when somebody says to me, I have made you coffee, if the love language of acts of service is what I relate with in terms of receiving love. Receiving gifts, an example would be, here's coffee, or I've bought you coffee. That's now receiving gifts. So if I appreciate receiving gifts as my love language, it would make me so happy and so excited to hear somebody saying, here's coffee, or I have bought you coffee. Or if that's how I express my love, I would say to my person, here's your coffee, or I've ordered you coffee. If quality time is my love language, I would say, let's go get coffee, because now that's going to make me spend time with you. Or I would love it so much when somebody says to me, let's go and get coffee, because that's how I receive love. I love, and I mean, that's how I interpret and receive love. If my love language is physical touch, in this example, I would say, let me hold you like coffee. Let me hold you like something that I love. Let me hold you like coffee. Or if my person said to me, let me hold you like coffee, then if physical touch is my primary love language, then I would be excited. I'd be happy if somebody said that to me. So with these love languages, all of us have all the love languages, or we appreciate and we relate to all the love languages. The only difference is the levels in which these love languages the level in which we interpret them, or in the level. Okay, I am hearing some echo. Darius, please mute yourself. Thank you. Okay, so we all have the love language, 5 love languages. But for some people, they will have maybe physical touch as their primary love language. And then the others as secondary. They will have maybe a second one as a secondary, and then the other ones will just be following. Another person, words of affirmation would be their primary love language. Then they could have maybe a secondary one as receiving gifts, and then other ones following after that. So all of us have a primary love language and a secondary one, and others just falling in line after those two top ones, which is a primary and the secondary. I think that's all that I can summarize when it comes to love languages. Darius, do you wanna come in?
Love languages. Darius, do you wanna come in? Yeah. So first of all, I would want to apologize. I'm having load shedding. I'm sure you've noticed I had switched on the my video, but just after maybe a minute, it went off. So I'm having power challenges. Power is coming and going just like that. So sincere apologies. But let's see, we can try to work this out without the video. So
That's okay.
That's okay. Yeah. So love language. Thank you for that, Sia. Though I was getting interrupted, but I would want to say that what you've said is true. So basically, love language is how each one of us desire to be appreciated. Okay, so like you said, some it's touch. Okay, now when we talk about touch, we're talking about various ways of touching. Okay, the touching can range from mild to something deep. It can be a simple putting of one's hand over your loved one's shoulder. It can be something as simple as holding their hand, locking your palms. Your what do you call the fingers, locking your arms. It can be as simple as rubbing somebody's back or patting their back. Okay. Can be as simple as a simple hug or even something deeper. It also goes deep as intimacy, kissing and so on and so forth. That encompasses the physical aspect of a love language. Now, what we are saying is that, but before I come to that point, you also talked about gifts. Okay, so gifts is another love language. So some people, for them to feel loved, you need to gift them. Now, I remember when I was in my second year of my undergraduate studies, a friend of mine, let me not say, let me call her a friend of mine because I think we were friends. Yeah, she was, of course, from one of the countries that I'll not mention. Now, she's a relative to Sia, actually. Yeah, so her close friend got sick. Okay, and I went to. She was the one on the bedside, so because her friend was sick, that friend of hers, by extension, was my friend too. So I went to see her on that basis, and as I went to see her, what I was told was, hey you guys, you've just come empty-handed, and it was at that time of the semester when students are broke. Then she says, no. Then I was like, we are broke. Then she says, no, we don't necessarily have to have money or to be rich. You mean you couldn't even just pick a flower from the way, because the road leading to the hospital had a lot of flowers, very nice flowers, by the way, and very colorful. So she was like, you mean you couldn't even just pick a flower? Okay, she complained like that, and she was serious. At first I thought she was joking, but here's the point. To people whose love language is gifts, effort is appreciated more than excuses. No matter how genuine your excuse could be, for them it is the effort that counts. Just the thought that you thought of picking a flower, even if you did not spend a penny on it, but you picked that flower and gave them to them, they feel so important. That leads me to the next one, which is quality time. Quality time is a similar thing. Now, a certain colleague of mine, a pastor, where after work decided to pass through a supermarket to go and buy some goodies for the wife and his 2 children. Okay, so after buying, he went home, of course, and upon reaching home, he was well received, and he gave those gifts or those goodies to the wife and the 2 kids, the boy and the girl. Surprisingly, the wife and the little one, the girl, were so excited and they couldn't let go of what he bought them. But the son just got what he was given, put it aside, and grabbed the dad's hand, grabbed the dad by the hand, and took him outside to the tennis spot. You know, the spot where the tennis board, and he said, "Dad, let's play tennis." So they played tennis, and after, of course, some minutes, they finished. They were tired. They went inside the house, and the young man was excited. So whereas the mom was excited by the gift, the sister was excited by the gift, he was not excited by that gift. Yes, the gift might have been nice, might have been well thought about by the father, but that is not his love language. His love language was or is time, quality time for him, for the dad to spend time with him in the tennis spot, to just play tennis with him meant the world. So you see, here's where my point is. I know I've left out 2. I believe you've already mentioned them, but here's my point. No matter how well intentioned you may be in terms of giving out your love language, giving out something, as long as you do not give something that person likes, or that person is
Interpreters
according
love.
to that person's love language. Yes. If that thing is not according to their love language, no matter how well intentioned or how expensive, it will not mean anything, and you continue thinking maybe this person doesn't appreciate, and yet this person, it's like you a good example maybe is a fish and a bird. Imagine a bird falls in love with a very beautiful fish, but can the two make a home? They can't, because the fish resides in water and the bird resides in the air. Okay, for the fish, it can't jump out into the air, and the bird can't jump into the water. So my point is, there's some people we need to get to a point where we understand each other's love languages as friends, as colleagues, as partners, as parent, children, and whatever relationships that we have or that we consider so dear. We need to understand what that person's love language is exactly, if those relationships or those connections are to be of any benefit to the person that we are giving them to. Lastly, I want to say that I know a good number of us, we've tried. I've heard of people who say, no, I've really tried to make this guy happy. I've really tried to make this girl happy. I really tried to please my parents. I really tried to please my children. I really tried to please my boss. But you know what? Maybe the problem is you just don't speak their love language. Whatever you try is in vain, not because it's not valuable, but because you do not speak their love language. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I wanted to agree with you there. I know I'm a parent of 3, and my children, each one of them have different love language. One of them appreciates gifts a lot. Another one has a primary language of words of affirmation. Another one has a primary love language of quality time. And since I got to learn that, I knew how to reach out to them in a way that they understand love. I know with the one that has words of affirmation as a love language, what I say counts the most. if ever I say any negative thing, he remembers it, because that's how he understands love. He remembers it and he will quote me that this is what you said to me. And if you say good words to him, he really appreciates it. You can see that he's beaming from ear to ear. He's so proud of himself. So, and then with the one that loves gifts, it doesn't even have to be anything expensive. The mere fact that I thought of her when I was
the one that remembers words is like the mother.
Yeah, we are similar there. If the one that likes gifts, it doesn't matter how cheap the gift is or how expensive it is. The mere fact that you thought of her when you were not around her and you brought something for her at home, she takes it serious. Like, it's so. And then there's the other one who's always like, "Can we watch a movie together? Can you accompany me to go swim? Can you go to the mall together? Let's go out on a date. I'm gonna take you out." He's like that person. I know their primary love language is quality time. No matter what you can do for them, you can give them the best words, you can buy them the most expensive gift. If you don't spend time with them, he is the one who notices the most if people are scarce. Like, where's your friend Ban Ban? We don't see her anymore. I haven't seen this person in a while. That's the person who appreciates quality time. So I just want to say it's not limited to only love relationships, but it covers every part of our lives, with our friends, with our children, with our partners, with our parents as well. Okay, now I want us to answer this question. Where does love languages and attachment styles meet? Where do they link? And what is the effect of one on another? Do love languages affect attachment styles, or do attachment styles influence love languages? Which one is which, and where does that happen? I think that's the main question for this evening's session. Who wants to start? Chilala or Darius?
Okay, I can begin. Love languages and attachment styles may, in one way or the other, affect each other. Yes.
I'm not sure it's your network or what, but you are
love
cutting.
Language, it's also very important to understand your attachment style. Yeah, sorry, my network is quite unstable. I don't know why. Yeah, so I was saying it's important for somebody to understand both their attachment style as well as their love language. Here is the reason. Somebody could have a love language of quiet time, for example. It means that they need their partner to be close to them, most of the time. They need their partner to be, always in touch with them, texting, calling. If they are around them physically, they should spend time with them, talk to them, listen to them, just have all the attention that they may need, okay? Including all those non-verbal communication cues which could be used. They need them to put aside the phones, the television distraction and anything else that could distract them. That's for somebody who has a love language of quality time. Now, this same person who has this love language happens to have an attachment style which is, which is the dismissive type. Okay, the dismissive type of people, they do not like to form emotional, closeness. They don't want to be so close emotionally. Self-dependent. They don't need anybody. It's actually the other person that needs them. Now, how do you harmonize being a person who loves quality time from your loved one? Meanwhile, at the same time, you believe that you don't need other people. You don't need to be too close to others. emotionally, So just there is a problem. Just there is a problem. And so somebody needs to realize that the issue or the characteristic which they have of not wanting to be close to somebody, emotionally, this inclination towards being self-sufficient, towards independence, actually is something that is not ordinary. It's something that is not normal, and so it is not possible for them to do it, to be able to have their primary love language fulfilled, if at all they are going to continue manifesting the characteristics of the dismissive kind of attachment styles. So that is where it becomes very, very, very important that we understand both our love language as well as our attachment style, because one may affect the other. And if one is taken care of, for example, the attachment style is taken care of, then it may be possible for somebody to be able to enjoy love the way they want it according to their love language. I don't know if that is making some sense.
Yeah, thanks,
Yeah,
Juliana.
can I come through?
Yes, please come through.
Yeah, you let me know if at all I'll be breaking. So I start now. Thank you, Chilala, for that submission. One thing I want to maybe to say to make mention without hesitation is that both love languages and attachment styles, there is what we can term, or what I can term as an ideal love language and an ideal attachment style. Now, before maybe we come to that, I would want to say that, are you able to hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes. Remember, attachment styles have a lot to do with our infancy and a lot to do with our earlier experiences. So the worst here is there, assuming she's 30 years. Also, what happened to her, maybe let's say at 2025, will have a lot who has great potential in affecting how she attaches with people at 30 or at 35 or even at 40. All right. So the attachment style has a lot to do with our infancy or our experiences in our earlier lives. Now, remember, there are healthy attachment styles, and there are those which are unhealthy. Okay, there are those which will help you have form good relationships and maintain good relationships, sustain good relationships, whether romantic relationships or just social casual relationships. And there are those which will make you have fail to maintain, to sustain, to even form. Okay, the others fail because of their attachment styles. Now, attachment styles by definition actually do inform what love language somebody has, because imagine
Okay.
if you have an anxious attachment style. Okay, you're so scared. Okay, you're so scared. Okay, so this guy, what is he going to do? Is he going to dump me? You are always living, you're in a relationship, but you are living, you live as if you're walking on eggshells. Okay, if you're with him, any phone call that comes, you're too suspicious, you know so obviously there is a way that that guy has to treat you that must make you feel better, or must make you at least appreciate that he really loves you. So you see that the type of attachment you have will affect the kind of love language you will have. I don't know if that makes sense. Okay, let me
Making
repeat.
sense, yes.
You are having an anxious attachment style at a particular moment, and let's say you're in a relationship. Okay, or maybe let me bring it a little bit home. We've got so much on relationships. Let's talk of like, you've got this father or this parent that has been absent. Okay, he leaves. He's emotionally unavailable, physically unavailable. So much is unavailable. Okay, now that he's back, okay, you're now thinking, you are happy, but you're thinking, isn't he going to leave the way he's always been away? Okay, or if you have got this parent that is always yelling at you, shouting, raising his voice and his or her voice, and then now you are at this point when you feel like, okay, now you're enjoying some peaceful moment, and then that parent comes, and then you're thinking, okay, when he begins shouting, or what comment, what negative comment is she going to put up? Now, because of that attachment style you have, you will obviously need a certain way of making you feel appreciated. And of course, in most cases, it is people who have an anxious attachment style are high on words. Okay, they are high on words because you have to keep reassuring them that you will not do, or you will not be what they suspect or are too expectant. Because remember, most people who have got an anxious attachment style, they are more usually expectant of something negative. Okay, and they live in constant fear of that thing possibly happening. Okay, so now the point I've put across here is that one's attachment style is definitely going to affect the love language they have. Now, this being said, remember, an attachment style can be modified. You can change from an unhealthy attachment style to a healthier one, or an insecure one to a secure one. That also implies that it's possible for one to move from one love language to another. I'll give an example. Here is somebody who for a long time has had an anxious attachment style, and because as a result of having an anxious attachment style, they've been big on words. Their love language has been words of affirmation. Okay, but as that person works on their attachment style, maybe they move to a much secure one. They no longer have an anxious attachment style. Definitely at the time they will have a better, or something that is more stable, a better attachment style. You will not expect words to mean anything. You'll be able to chaff them, but it will not mean anything. You'll be able to appreciate them, but it will not mean as much as it used to do. And that's the reason why sometimes when people evolve, if you notice, sometimes when people evolve, even their relationships shake sometimes. Maybe one has grown, they've become more mentally stable, more mentally maintained, they've been seeing a therapist, they've been having support group, and so their attachment style has evolved or has changed. And so as a result of the attachment style changing, it will affect their primary love languages. And as it does, their partner or their friend or whoever it is that they are having some relationship with will probably still be in the dark or still be in the past. And that's why now people will even start saying, oh, you've changed. No. It's not that you've changed, you've evolved. Okay, it's like a butterfly, it changes from one stage to another, and at one point it used to be a caterpillar, at another point it's flying, and you think, oh, you've changed. No, it has evolved. So that is the evolution I wanted to say, I wanted to put across. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Darius. You have you've both answered the question. Okay, the English has run away now, but expressively, and I appreciate that. So, attachment styles do affect love languages. So, what is more important for a person? So before we can focus on what is your love language, then are we saying that what is more important is to first find out what is your attachment style? Is it something that you're happy with? Is it something that you want to evolve from? Because eventually your love language will be affected by whatever attachment style that you have. Am I getting you correctly?
Yeah, are you able to hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, so One thing I usually avoid in when we're talking about important things is to want to paint one more important than the other, because at the end of the day, coexistence is important. However, I should mention that um, I think looking at how this is to me, or from what I know of how I understand these things, I feel attachment style is more critical, or let me say it's the foundation. Yeah, I think I'm more comfortable
Yes.
using the word foundation. It's the foundation. It's foundational because remember, attachment style has a lot to do with our infancy. And then
Yes.
that's primary. Then secondarily, it has a lot to do with our earlier years. It could be when you were a teenager, it could be when just something earlier. Okay, now at the end of the day, see at that point where you are there, you could be having a love language that is not ideal. You understand? Huh?
Mm-hmm.
That is not ideal. Probably you're big on words and you just say, no, me, my love language is words of affirmation, not knowing that you have a particular love language that is as a result of a certain unhealthy attachment style. So for one to be so sure that they're not having a love language that is affected by an insecure or an unhealthy attachment style, you need to ensure that you sort your attachment trauma, your attachment styles first, so that at the point that you'll be saying this is my love language, you will be sure that this is not as a result of an attachment trauma. Now, yeah, so basically, so for me that's the most important thing. Attachment styles are a foundation. It can help us. I have assessed myself. I've done some assessments recently and some time ago concerning my love language, and I was so shocked that looking at the results that things have changed. And at first I was shocked, but later on, after getting more knowledge and insight, I got to realize it's because I've been working on myself, and with time, my attachment style or styles have evolved, and that because they have evolved, even how somebody. Some time back I used to be so much big on words. Of course, I still like, I still appreciate when somebody tells me nice things, but not as much as it used to be a long time ago. Sometimes when somebody tells me something nice, it doesn't really make me so excited as it used to. Okay, and the reason is simple: it's because even my attachment style has evolved, and that has influenced that.
Mm. Thank you. Thank you so much. You actually have stolen my words there. I wanted to say that I think it's important for all of us to assess ourselves. I know I share the same sentiments as you. I know at some point in my life, the words of affirmation was the thing, but now, yeah, it's there, but it's no longer primary. I'm more now interested in people's actions more than their words. And whenever I feel confused between words and actions, I always choose, to believe what the actions are telling me. So I'm no longer big on being told nice things. I am more self-affirmed than I have been, before. That I know I'm a good person, even if you don't tell me that I'm a good person. I know I'm beautiful, even if you don't tell me that I'm beautiful. Whereas at some point, I used to be so dependent on what people say about me or say to me, So my love language has definitely shifted from words of affirmation to other love languages. It's there, the words of affirmation are there, but yeah, somewhere in the list down there. So thank you for that admission. My last question in the few minutes that we are left with. Um, can we give examples? Is it even possible, of a way of linking the mentioned love languages to the attachment styles that we have discussed? Like, what love languages? Now, I know that not everyone who has a certain love language is directly linked to their attachment style, right? But if we were to do that, if we were to get to a point where we give examples that a person that has this particular attachment style would have this kind of love language, can we give those kind of examples? Like if a person has a dismissive attachment style, what kind of love language would express that? I think that's a better question. What kind of love language would express a dismissive attachment style? What kind of love language would express an anxious attachment style? And obviously, this is not an absolute saying that these are directly linked, but if they were to be linked, what examples would we give?
Yeah, we can give an example. Um, like a child, who is so much close to the parents, say the mother, the father. Yes. And sometimes the last borns, especially, they have some certain kind of attachment to their parents. When everyone else is sent out for holidays during a vacation, the parents say, no, this one is not going, they will remain. And so they are brought up in such kind of a situation where they are always close to their parents, to an extent that they have never spent a lot of time out of home, where their parents are not with them, and they just grow up just like that. And in the future, later as they grow up, they realize that they require a lot of quality time in terms of relationships with their partners. So we can say that such kind of a child could have developed a secure attachment style. They would have developed a secure attachment style where they are able to communicate properly with their partner. Yeah, they get good feedback. You know, uh, and 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 such kind of thing. Um, as a result of that warmth which they received from their parents, you know, their attachment style could have been shaped in a way that they are stable emotionally. They do not have insecurities, they do not have trust issues and everything like that. And then when you go to their love language, they are the kind of person that actually um, likes quality time, because they were shaped like that due to the closeness which they had with their parents. I think to me that can be a good example of upbringing, shaping someone's love language.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, I wanted to actually respond to Darius. The question was, if we were to Darius, if we were to link the love languages that we know with attachment styles, what examples would we give? Like how the attachment styles express themselves in love languages? Yes. How would an anxious person, a person, I don't want to say an anxious, a person that's an anxious attachment style, you already made I think both you and I have already made the example that when we had an anxious attachment style, we were more on love languages. I mean, on words of affirmation is a love language. What other examples can we give? Like a person that has a dismissive attachment style, what kind of love language would they express that in? That's the question. Darius?
I've heard the question. I'm actually thinking about that. But here's what I wanted to say, Sia. Maybe because you see, if we begin to give examples, we can spend the whole day here. But here is one important thing we should notice is that sometimes these love languages are symptomatic of certain things that could either be healthy, a certain attachment styles could be healthy or not, that could be secure or not. Okay, so in short, what I'm trying to what I would want to advise somebody who's listening out there is that um,
You have muted yourself.
yeah. So what I wanted to say is that sometimes we could be very comfortable with a particular love language, but meanwhile it could be very indicative of something that is unhealthy. Maybe the question I want to ask you, Sia, I want to very just challenge your thinking as we conclude, is that is there something about your love languages that you feel that because remember these love languages are in percentages. You could be having the which those which we call primary love languages, maybe the top two having a higher percentage, and then maybe the rest they are there in you, but they've got a lower percentage. It doesn't mean that you do not have completely. You have them, except their manifestation
Yeah.
are very minimal, and it's almost negligible anyway. Yeah. But now, is there something about your love languages at whatever percentage and at whatever point that you would say, okay, this one I think was or is unhealthy in the way that sometimes I demand for this. It could be demanding for quality time. It could be demanding for a touch, or it could be demanding for words of affirmation. It could be demanding for gifts, demanding for whatever it may be. Is there something that you feel, okay, this I feel like even if it's my love language, it's unhealthy? Is there something like that? Or have you ever seen somebody who demands something in the name of their love language and you feel this is not cool?
Uh, okay, I have not experienced that with myself. Okay, I'm generally not a very demanding person. I guess I'm generally chilled, person. But I do know someone who is more demanding, when it comes to money and gifts, and always complains that people don't care about her if they don't do this and that. And she doesn't really care how inconvenient her demands are to other people. And this is a person I'm close to and who I've had to remind time and again to say, lessen your demands, lower expectations, and then you won't experience so much disappointment, because you put all of these
Exactly.
demands, and you don't
Exactly.
you don't get to experience this beautiful relationship you have with people, because your expectations are always high on this is what must be done, whether it's possible or not possible. So, and I do believe that with all the love languages, all of them can be unhealthy. I mean, they can be expressed in an unhealthy manner. Not
Okay, see,
yes.
allow me to catch you. Allow me. I know you're the moderator, but allow me to catch you on that. You've actually answered me. Now, here is where my point was coming to. My point is this: some people hide behind, "Oh, it is my love language," and they want to go on with their unacceptable behavior or demands. All right,
Yeah.
and that's why I'm saying, be careful. Be careful to work on your attachment style. Actually, the example you've given, I feel attacked because that's exactly what I was at some point not too long ago. But it took, of course, efforts and some time of me working on my attachment style, of course, through
Hmm.
professional help, and also just support from my best friend. Okay, the same thing of expectation. And it would, because trust me, the people who you not tell me that everyone out there hates giving, or hates hates giving quality time, giving gifts, acts of service. They don't hate that, but there are
Mm.
people who would want to demand for that, who would want to go overboard, above and overboard, and to a great extent they become and they become irritating to whoever they're demanding or want or expect those things from. You understand? So
Yeah.
that's why I'm saying that love languages actually are a symptom of what could be a healthy attachment style, or an unhealthy attachment style. So here is my prognosis, or rather my recommendation. Let's all work on our attachment styles. Let's ensure that we've got healthy attachment styles, or secure attachment styles, that are going to help us have ideal love languages. Some of you
Yeah.
are having Some people could be having, and that's why these things are actually interlinked. I'll give an example of sexual behavior, hyperactive sexual behavior. We call it hypersexual disorder. Some people have got this hypersexual disorder not because and mostly it's because maybe they hide behind the issue of, for me, my love language is touch, and from there,
Yeah.
when you touch them a bit, the rest is history. They're already sleeping with
Mm.
someone, even if it's a stranger or even if it's somebody they shouldn't have slept with. But if this person maybe worked on their attachment style, you discover that yes, they would still probably have that the love language of touch, but probably in a more healthier way, or in a more mature or controlled way. So what we are saying is, let's work on our attachment styles, and as we work on our attachment styles, we will invariably be working on our love languages.
Makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense. I now remember that there was a time where, I would sort of demand compliments, at the time when I believed that my love language was words of affirmation. So if I changed my hairstyle, or I'm wearing a new dress or whatever, and you don't say anything as my person that you claim to love me, it would hurt me. Like, you did not say that my hairstyle is nice, you did not say that I'm beautiful, you did not say that my dress suits me or whatever. But I then now realize that it was me unhealthy. I was unhealthy, and therefore was expressing the love language that is so beautiful in a very unhealthy manner. So it goes back to the point I was saying, that the love languages by themselves, there's nothing wrong with them. There's nothing unhealthy about them. But how we express them highly depends on where we are emotionally, and where we are emotionally could be really dependent on our attachment styles. And as we are saying, once we work on our attachment styles, we invariably work on our love languages as well. So if you've ever done the love languages test 5 years, 10 years ago, whatever time ago, and you do it today and you get different results, you must just know that you have evolved as a person, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Actually, evolving is beautiful, and it's very much healthy. And I do hope and pray that these sessions that we keep on holding, they prompt us to do something about ourselves, to do something about our mental health, to do something about our lives, and make us, think twice before those who are not committed, before we commit to other people. Maybe take time to work on ourselves before committing to other people. I don't know if you guys have any closing remarks, and we can say goodbye. Shilala, closing remarks. Darius?
Okay, so yeah,
Okay,
okay, let Chilala go first.
Okay.
thank you so much. Apologies, network keeps on tripping. Yeah, like it has been emphasized, it is very important to work on our attachment styles. Most of us, we would love to think that everything is okay about attachment style. We would like to identify ourselves with the healthy attachment styles. But if we are going to examine ourselves properly, we are going to realize that we have one or more of the characteristics of the unhealthy attachment styles. And so it takes a lot of effort, deliberate effort, in order for us to try and work out on those areas where we are not doing so well in terms of our attachment styles. And remember, like it has been said, the attachment styles are like the foundational. They are in one way or another able to shape our love language. And so because of that, it takes quite a lot for us to be able to work on our attachment styles. And like working on our love languages, once we have been able to work on our attachment styles, the negative aspects or characteristics that could be inherent in us, it becomes easy for us to understand our love languages, and it becomes easy for us to be able to manage our love language. So that is very, very, very important. I think that's what I could say.
Thank you.
In
Okay, before I
closing,
give you
Sia,
wait, just can I answer somebody, Darius? Uh, okay, Andiswa says she was not here last week. She wants to know more about attachment styles. Okay, all those were not here last week, and that missed the attachment styles presentation. In my Facebook page, Beyond Broken with Sia Zenani, go to videos, check last week's video. You will get it there. You can also get it on YouTube. If you search on YouTube, my channel is called Beyond Broken. It is also there, so you can get a recap of last week's session. Thank you. Yes, you can give your closing remarks, Darius.
Sia, I don't know if we have how many people have joined us through Google Meet.
They were 20, now they are 9.
Okay. I don't know if Tawanga is there to give them the link to the group. I don't know, or any of our admins to Psych Life 101 groups. You could just share the links or get in touch with any of the people that have linked you to this program. But yeah, so here's what I wanted to say in conclusion. Do not be complacent at every given point, or at any given point, that my attachment style is this or my love language is this. Remember, last week those who attended, we discussed that attachment style is something that can evolve even now. All right, depending on the people you meet. You meet toxic people, they will traumatize you in a way, or break your heart in a way, and somehow that will affect how you're going to attach to the next person. It could be you've met a crook in your business ventures, business pursuits, and as a result of their crookedness, you begin to be suspicious with everyone that comes to with any business proposal towards you. It could be a marriage, just because you've met wolves that have been proposing marriage to you, and some of them even marrying you, and things are failing. You'd be thinking everyone is like that. It could be a relationship or whatever. So the same way attachment styles evolve is the same way our love languages evolve. So we need to keep ourselves in constant watch, so that we are not toxic in the way we attach with or to people, and in the way that we demand or we wish to be shown love. Because you could be there and say, no, it's my love language. And people are telling this thing you like doing, this thing you like saying, these kinds of expectations you have are not healthy. You're like, no, but it's my love language. You want to hide behind the issue of, oh, this is the way I am, oh, this is how I grew up, oh, this is no. Let's always keep these things in constant check. And I want to say this specifically to those who may be in may have a good attachment style, or a healthy attachment style. Do not be complacent thinking it will always be like that. Okay, it's good to keep yourself in check, so that what was good does not silently die, and then you think it is still like that. If I'm to sound religious, I would say, don't be like Samson, who thought he still had strength when Delilah cut his hair, and when she called the Philistines upon him, and he tried to shake himself to in order to fight them, and then only to realize that he had become weak. So let's not be like him, who think, okay, I'll always be strong. Let's keep ourselves in constant check, so much so that should anything happen that maybe disturbs you, you quickly work on yourself to get yourself back into a healthy and a secure attachment style. Otherwise, it's been a wonderful evening. Thank you for listening, and I wish you nothing but the best, and obviously see you next time.
All right. There is a hand from Andy Siwe. You can unmute yourself, Sissy, and ask. And another one from from Judith. Andy, see where you can ask your question. Was that a mistaken hand? Okay, Judith.
Yeah, I thank you. At least today it's my first time to join your group.
Yeah, welcome.
I've enjoyed the actually the remarks he has added at the end. It's the one which has made me also just to raise up the hand. There are sometimes which usually actually sometimes you meet some people who are very toxic, as he has already mentioned, whereby, like, I'm sorry to say this, there is this generation who wants to be like what they are doing. Like for us who are in school, you'll find that you find yourself like an older person. You are in the youngest class, and the way they are behaving, it's in a way to help out these young ones. They think maybe you are doing it just because you are showing. Oh, them, they are not seeing it as if you are helping them. So when you look at that, you see that you distance yourself from these kind of children, I can say kind of youths who are being brought up as of now, and you give them a space. So somehow it has touched me because I think I've given a space for this class because they are my classmates, and I've seen that these people, they actually, these young ones, they want something. When they see something tangible from you, they want just to grab it, and there they go. They will never say thank you. They'll just go just like that. You help out, and they'll have that, I can say, dirty minds. If you help someone, they'll say, If it's a boy, they'll say, what is going on? So when you give a distance, it's that like there is a small behavior which is in me, which can make me to be different. I don't know. I just wanted to know about that. Otherwise, I look into that in that way to say that these children of nowadays, there are some who can understand to say in a Christianity way to say that this way we can help each other in this way. And others will be thinking to say, if she's helping, then there is something like this. So if they go talking, you distance yourself. Is that a certain behavior which you are talking about? I just wanted to know about that because I distanced myself because of a certain behavior which I did not like. So I think he has to help me over that.
Darius, can you come in?
Unfortunately, I have challenges with StreamYard, so I have to leave to join Google Meet. I don't know if are you able to summarize her question?
Okay, in summary, she's
I can try.
Okay, please try.
I can try just.
Yes.
Just to give you briefly, the way you were saying concerning, there are some behaviors which, like to my side, which I've developed, whereby I'm in a class where they are young ones. I can say they are youth. Me, yes, I'm a youth, but I've reached 40. And these young ones, they are in the 20s, 19s. So in this class, you find that there are these groups whereby they want tangible things. If they have seen something from someone or from myself, They want just to grab and go. You understand? They are those ones who grab and go, and they will be talking things which you won't understand. So if I distance myself from such people, because I've distanced myself from my class, there are a few people whom I communicate with, because the toxic talk of these young ones, it's very toxic, like to my side, because when I see that there is that talk of gossiping, I can just mention it, like gossiping, and when they are in a group, they'll just be whispering, hey, 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 if they see you. But I know that they are not sometimes talking about me. They are having their own things, but they will show you a certain behavior which it's not showing in a respectable manner. You understand? So if I distance myself, is that another trait which I'm having in myself, or the behavior which is developing in me?
Okay, so maybe we could also be talking about maybe a bit of different things, but one thing I should say is that there's nothing wrong distancing oneself from something you feel is not healthy for you. If something is unhealthy, or if something costs your peace, if something costs your mental, emotional well-being, then it's not worthy your time. It's not worthy it's not worthy your time. Keep it off. Cut it off. Okay, but however, it's also important to know that overdoing, even when you overdo good things, or when you over apply good things, it can be pathological, it can be wrong. So just ensure that you keep yourself in check, and ensure that you are not overdoing it. Okay, there's some things which people come from different backgrounds. Somebody could be coming from a background where, as a result of the way they were raised, they behave that way. But it shouldn't be that you are the person who always finds faults, always finds people in the wrong, always like that. And then also it's important to understand people's age groups. You said you are 40, somebody's in their early 20s, somebody's in their mid 20s. They've probably not seen what you've seen. Ask yourself, at the time you were their age, how were you behaving? So there are some of those things. I may not exactly say you are having a bad behavior or not, but I may just want to say that there's nothing wrong cutting off people that are toxic, or situations or environments that are not helpful. If something costs your peace, if something costs your mental well-being or emotional well-being, cut it off. It's not worth your time. And at the same time, it's important to also understand people, and by asking ourselves, at the time I was their age, how was I behaving? Or if I had the same privileges they had, they could be coming from rich families, and maybe you or maybe others are coming from maybe humble backgrounds, and then maybe as a result of the way they are raised, or the places where they're coming from, that informs the way they behave. So there's so many things. Some of these things we may need to discuss maybe one-on-one to determine what's really the issue, and probably if there is need for help, you are helped. Thank you.
Thank you, Darius. Okay, and the person who asked the question left, so hopefully they will pick it up another time. But yes, thank you so much for your participation and in this evening session. I wish you all a very good night and a blessed weekend coming. We will meet again next week.
Thank you, Sia. Next week.